All right, hey guys, Sean Greeley here. I'm excited to get into this lesson with you on fitness business models. Over the last 13 plus years and working with tens of thousands of businesses around the world, I can tell you that the number one root cause of the biggest problems in growing a fitness business, in scaling a fitness business, and evolving in competitive markets really gets down to this issue with lack of clarity of your business model and lack of evolution of your fitness business model to adjust to new environments, competitive environments. If the market changes, the conditions in the market change with competitors, with resource availability and staff. We've had people that have new laws that have come out in the government with ways you can pay and have to compensate contractors versus employees. There's lots of conditions that can force an evolution of your model, and really paying attention to that and refining it, continue to revisit it and improve your model is so important for continued growth and success. I like to say the metaphor, if you've got 4 hours to chop down a tree, spend the first 3 hours sharpening the axe. Well, really when it gets to success of your business, and i.e. success being cash profitability sustained over time, model is first and foremost the fundamental piece. That the more efficient your model is, the more simpler it is, the easier everything's going to be. A lot of people try to solve problems in lack of cash profitability with sales and marketing. And if the model isn't refined and efficient, then we just make the problem bigger. We make it more difficult, and we're trying to chop down a tree with a dull axe, right? If I can go outside and try to chop down a tree with a fork, I'm never going to get there, and I'm going to be exhausted. Versus if I have a finely sharpened axe and I start whacking at that thing, it's going to come down, no question. It's going to come down fast, right? So spending the time revisiting your model, the things that make up your model and ensure its continued success are critical for continued growth. So excited to get in this lesson and break it down with you. So we're going to cover here the three primary fitness business models. There's really only three, and a lot of people try to overcomplicate it. And even with the evolution of online training and delivery of services, again, people try to really get confused, make it overcomplicated, and it doesn't need to be. It's really simple. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about how to choose the model that best fits your strengths and essentially allows you to further differentiate you from the competition, and it makes it easier for business to scale and grow. So depending on your goals of where you want to take your business from just yourself with a full-time schedule to beyond yourself and having a team, or even into multi-location or a franchise, the simpler and easier it is to ensure success, and success meaning cash profitability of the model, the easier it is to grow, where it is your vision to scale your business. And lastly, what are some of the nuances, the benefits and functions of each? There's certain models that are better suited for certain modalities and for certain target markets, and others that are better in different areas. So we're going to break that down. Obviously, if I'm in a very wealthy, competitive environment like Los Angeles or Sydney or London, there's demand for extreme high-end premium price services versus if I'm in a country town, there's probably not going to be as much of a market for that. So we want to understand these nuances and really align the model to the market. The market is what drives all this. You can have what you would like to do and what is best suited for, your desires. But the other metaphor I like to use is kind of like surfing. I can want to go surfing, and I can want to ride my longboard, and I can go down to the beach and hold my board, and there's no waves. Well, I can, regardless of what I want to do, the waves have to be, cranking at the spot I'm at for me to go surfing. And even if they are, I don't just paddle out in the middle and just say, okay, waves, I'm ready, come to me. No, I have to look at where the waves are. I have to paddle over there. I have to catch the wave at the right spot, and then I get the chance to ride the wave, right? So business is the same. We have to be able to read the market just like reading the ocean. We have to go where the waves are. And the more we do that and do that successfully, then we get a chance to ride the wave, which is really growing a business successfully and expanding and scaling the business to the extent we want to, and there's opportunity to do so. So you've got to understand the forces at play here, and take all these considerations into account to set your business up for success, and make it easy and make it more fun. So let's get into this. And where most people get it wrong, and I say most professionals, but most business owners get it wrong, and this is something that happens at every level. I talk to businesses, startups that are just got certified and want to get started, and I talk to businesses that have been around for decades and have hundreds of locations. So this is an issue that has to be visited all the time. But most people try to do a little bit of everything, and so I hear things like, I'm going to do private training and semi-private training, and I'm also doing this boot camp and classes, and I'm starting some nutrition coaching, and I want to launch an online program. And that's what I hear from a lot of professionals. And a lot of bigger businesses, again, try to be the Home Depot of stop in and get everything, or any major. They try to be like the Amazon of fitness, and be the one-stop shop. And really, that's harder and harder to do, especially where we're at in this day and age in the market. There's so many specialty solutions out there that you want to focus is going to be a whole lot easier to grow than trying to be a one-stop shop. So trying to go 3 different models for different types of clients all at the same time, again, very challenging. There's different solutions for different people at different price points in different areas. So we got to simplify to grow. And a lot of people fall in love with what they think is cool because they love studying a certain subject or a certain method of training. That might be what you want to do, but it doesn't mean the market has an interest in that. Again, I can go down the beach and want to ride a shortboard, but if the waves aren't right, then I'm not going anywhere. So you got to really focus on the market. The market is the force that drives everything in business. It's not about you. It's about the market, and about aligning yourself to the market with your business and your business structure to be successful. So really important point, because people focus on their idea and their passion. And while that's important, it comes, second, third, fourth, fifth down the list compared to what's in front of you and what is the demand and what is the opportunity. So you've got to stay focused on that and setting up for success. A lot of people also think that their business is different, and regardless of the way you want to serve clients, if you're doing yoga or Pilates or CrossFit or functional fitness or personal training or boot camp, whatever it may be, the structure of the business still has to follow some basic rules and math to be successful, right? We have to have a cost structure for the business and a revenue streams that when you do the math of revenue minus expenses equals net profit, there has to be profit for a business to sustain itself over time. So you can't ignore the laws of mathematics, and the laws of math don't change for you. It's like gravity. Gravity doesn't change for you, whether you're a car or whether you're driving a car or flying a plane. It's still gravity, force, in the universe, and we've got to align to it given the different machines we're using to move through time and space. So it also takes a lot of focused energy to get a business off the ground, and highly recommend that you choose one model. We're going to break down those models in a second, but choose one, put all your energy behind it, and get a client base built up. And I'll say again that most people fail because they're trying to do more than one thing. They're trying to do 3, 4, 5 things, and they're doing them all halfway, and they're unsuccessful, especially in the competitive markets we're in. Business is hard enough to get going in any environment, but especially in competitive environments. The more you niche and specialize what you do and focus on one primary model revenue stream and get that cranking, that's going to be a much better return on your investment of time, energy, and resources. And then once you've got a good place, you can do more, or you can reevaluate if it makes sense to do more, but you can't do 3, 4 things at once. It's just I've never seen that work. And lastly, a lot of people think that because if they want to serve clients in a remote coaching environment, that everything changes, right? So I'm used to training clients face-to-face, let's say, and I understand people, pay me and they come to a session and I do whatever we're going to do in the session together. And I get how that works, but they think that, oh, if I'm working with someone virtually in a call or in a video conference or whatever it may be, the environment changes in which we work together, that changes all the rules and dynamics of your business model structure, and it doesn't. So, really, especially for fitness professionals, when you're selling, let's say, private training services, people don't pay us for our time. People pay us for the outcome we produce. And frankly, the less time they have to talk to you or spend with you to get the outcome, they're going to be, in most cases, happier, right? No one wants to train. They want to get the outcome and the benefits of training, and so the more you can deliver that outcome to them more efficiently, the happier they are. But the value of your time doesn't change. When you've got, let's say, in a private training environment, you have maybe 30 hours a week of training at kind of max capacity, and then most people are pretty toasted, giving more training hours beyond 30 hours actually working with clients. There might be other hours with administrative functions and that kind of stuff, but if you're a full-time coach training 30 hours a week actually in front of clients, that's a pretty busy schedule. And so some kind of rules of math we like to share is we like to see generating as a solo practitioner $70 to $80 per hour for your time, whether that be in semi-private, private, or group. You want your business to generate about that. So about 30 hours of time at $70 a session. It generally takes around 12 to 18 clients training 2 to 3 times a week in private training to get to about $10K a month of revenue, which is kind of phase one we like to talk about. And whether that hours spent training client face-to-face or training them, working with them remotely on a call or video conference, or whatever it may be, the value of your time still has to produce X per hour to achieve some decent goals. And again, the value of your time is related to the value of the outcome you're producing. So don't think that because you're working with someone in a different environment, you need to charge less. So just think about if you're charging. We had a call with someone today charging $85 a session. Then the major nuance is maybe you're meeting with them weekly for a call as opposed to 3 times a week for a workout, but you still want to charge the same amount for your time. So very important to think about that. Just because you're training people in a different online environment doesn't change the laws of what you need to generate in revenue for your time as a solo practitioner, and really to get the right buy-in from your clients to be committed to the journey of what it's going to take to be successful. We want people with skin in the game, want people committed, and those are some of my important recommendations where people get off track in this. So let's first define some important terms, modality versus model. So modality refers to the tools and methods used to get results with clients, right? So modality can be yoga, Pilates, CrossFit, personal training, nutrition coaching, wellness or holistic coaching. So whatever is the method you use, we work with check practitioners, you name it, whatever methods you use, that is the modality. The model is really the business revenue streams and cost structure that ensures the business is sustainable. You make a profit and the business is structured to be self-sustaining over time. So very important terms we're going to further define here and need to understand the nuances of what they mean. So again, breaking this down, some common modalities. We work with all of these: personal training, functional fitness / CrossFit, Pilates, yoga, martial arts, wellness coaching, nutrition coaching are the major ones. Other ones would be, athletic training for youth or for teams. Again, different types of modalities, and really whatever is your method of how you like to serve people to tools and methods to get the outcomes that they're investing and working with you to achieve. It's separate from the model. The model, again, everything has to boil down to a model that, again, answers the fundamental question of how a business is structured to deliver value in the market in a sustainable way, which means you're able to continue to earn a profit. So the model is really critical. The more efficient your model, it's like the sharper your axe, the easier it is to ensure value creation and sustainability for the business. So there's really just three primary models, and there's some nuances within this that we'll break down, but it boils down to group training, one-to-many, semi-private training, one-to-a-few, and private training, one-to-one. And whether that's online or in person, these are the primary models. And I suggest you really focus on just grabbing a proven model as opposed to trying to reinvent the wheel, especially when you're starting out. Or when you're trying to scale. You want to keep it simple. Innovation can happen a lot in the methodology and the outcomes, the way we deliver the outcomes, but the model, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So these are the primary models, and we'll talk about how this aligns. So for group models, this is generally where we see functional fitness, CrossFit, Pilates, yoga, martial arts. Regardless of how we're working with people, they're all kind of boiled down to a group model. Semi-private is generally where we see personal training and Pilates, some functional fitness in here as well, in semi-private environment. And then private training, we generally see this in a personal training, Pilates, wellness coaching, nutrition coaching, modalities or environments is where typically the private model shows up. Again, and this can be online or offline, is where we see the private work well and continue to be. There's more demand in the market for that in private today, and we have a lot of people introducing remote coaching offerings in that private environment to serve people today. So let's kind of break these down and talk a little bit about the nuances. So group training services have been around a long time. Started with martial arts, gymnastics, aerobics, really in the beginning of time with fitness and the roots of fitness. Moved to outdoor boot camps, becoming very popular in the last 20 years or so. A lot of yoga, kettlebell classes, CrossFit, and many more. Generally, this is a structure where clients are paying a monthly subscription fee to have access to classes. They can book in at different times to attend different classes, and there's some freedom and flexibility with that given the way the pricing and packaging is structured. It's generally a highly leverageable model depending on the coach to client ratio and the monthly price point, which can vary anywhere from 8 to 15 to 25, 30 plus clients per instructor, depending on where you're serving people, indoors or outdoors, your space capacity requirements, the way you're structured in terms of the coaching that you're delivering and what's the right coach to client ratio. This can vary, but generally most classes are always delivered in an hour block of time. That's a pretty standard for group training environments. The price point can be anywhere from 100 to 250 plus per month subscription fees. Generally billed weekly or fortnightly if they're not, which is a very common billing cycle overseas, meaning in Australia or the UK or Europe. The US and Canada, it's a lot of monthly billing for subscriptions. And this can vary. 100 is pretty low price. 200 plus is around 200 is a good run rate we like to see for a lot of groups. And we'll go into more of this in our packaging pricing lesson, which is another module coming up here shortly. But in general, that's the kind of range you're going to see given the capacity requirements of the model and how you're structuring delivery of service. The pros of group training is there's great leverage with one-to-many delivery of services. Many of these models have very low startup costs, like yoga. What do you need? A floor, right? And a room. Outdoor boot camp. What do you need? Grass or the beach. So very low startup costs. There's a great social component of community that supports client retention. Those are all great positives of the model. And the cons are, because there's low startup costs, there could be a lot of competition, right? We've seen a lot of growth in the fitness industry especially the last several years around the group training market, because people can just kind of rock up and get started without spending a lot of money. And because there's such a low barrier, and you get a lot of operators in here who don't really understand what they're doing, who don't know how to structure their business for success. there's been a lot of race to the bottom with discounting services and market saturation, which is really unsustainable. We saw this a lot in the last several years in the growth of and rapid growth of CrossFit, to where CrossFit was new to then there's a CrossFit in every corner, and it went from reasonably priced down to like so low price that nobody can make a profit or sustain their business with the economics and the unit economics of the model. And that's why it led to a lot of, and continues to lead to a lot of those businesses going out of business, because they're just not structured to be sustainable. And a lot of people that don't know what they're doing just think, I'm going to lower my costs and that's going to be the way to, I'm cheaper than the other guy. In business, you're really, especially in fitness services, you're really the best or the cheapest, and no one wants anything in between. And you definitely don't want to play the game of being the cheapest, because especially in the boutique studio space and small to mid-sized studio space environments, the bigger big box gyms can always, they have more money to spend and they can afford to undercut you significantly. So you've got to be structured appropriately to be competitive in the market, be sustainable with your business. So again, more to cover, but those are some pieces you need to understand the nuances of group training model. Some examples in group training, and I'd say this is for like a 15-to-1 ratio or even above this. This can scale to 25, 30 plus. We've seen for outdoor boot camps on the beach or in a park, and even bigger numbers. But essentially, in a typical rate of, let's say, $13, $14, $15 per class, if you were going to model it out per class, this is typically used for CrossFit, yoga, martial arts, boot camps, and youth team training is generally falls in line with this type of structure. You can see what this works out to be in the columns of the number of clients you need, the number of sessions those clients are coming in, the clients per session capacity. So you can see this is a 15-to-1 capacity, the hours of training required, the number of classes recommended, and then what would be the weekly gross and the monthly gross off of that for the business, and then what would be the weekly or monthly investment on the client side, right? So anywhere from, if they're just coming to 2 sessions a week, $129 a month to $30 a week, up to 52 or 224. So you can see what that does when you start playing with the unit economics here. And we're going to give you access to this business model tool in our second, where you can play around with the rates and some of the equations and see how that affects the modeling. And this is kind of what we're doing. We're looking at your model. We're playing with the economics of, if we tweak the rate and if we tweak some other components here, what do we need? What does success look like to get to the revenue numbers we need to produce in the business, and our goals, our revenue targets, and then how many clients is it going to take to get there, right? So in this example, you're talking about 45 to 90 clients in essentially 12 hours of training time, to get there. So that's how that one plays out. On the group training 8-to-1 side, this is typically for Pilates, where it's a little more higher touch in Pilates, and there's more equipment involved. We generally don't have as much capacity. You can see how this looks in terms of the client numbers and the rates, because we're able to charge a little bit more per session, if you will. It takes less clients to achieve similar revenue numbers for the business. And again, a little bit higher cost structure, anywhere from $172 to $310 a month, or $40 to $72 weekly. Again, can play with the rates here, but those are the kind of ranges you're talking about with this type of model structure, and what it looks like for group training. Then we get into semi-private training. So semi-private training is kind of a hybrid model of group training and private training. Been around for a while. It's, I'd say, one of the most efficient models there is in terms of how the rates that you can charge, the capacity for the business, and kind of the return on investment of time in versus revenue out for the business. Semi-private is a very efficient model. Generally, clients are supported on a 3 to 4 clients per instructor ratio. And that kind of varies in like a lot of people start with 3. And once the instructor gets very skilled, you've got very efficient operations and you can manage great coaching, then you can push the boundary on that to about 4. But going higher than that, you start to really limit, in most cases, the ability to really focus on clients and serve them well. So in most cases in semi-private training, clients all receive individual assessment. They all get individual program design, but they're supported in the training through a small group format. So there might be, again, 3 or 4 clients going through their workouts, being coached simultaneously. So there's a bit of a social stick component to the service delivery, but also great coaching to support their movement and their execution while they're getting that the primary benefit being good assessment, good programs that are optimized for that individual's needs. So session lengths can range anywhere from 30, 45, 60 minutes. We've seen different formats work well here. This is a pretty general demographic, middle-aged men and women, can be used with athletes as well in this model, and is very sustainable in most cases. The investment can range anywhere from from 300 to 500 per month, and you can break that down in the appropriate weekly or fortnightly billing rates. The pros of this model: it's a very highly profitable model when session times are maximized. So when you're really maxing out, sessions are packed, 3 to 4 clients per session. It's highly profitable. And generally there's good retention because it's a bit of a sweet spot from you've got the best of all worlds. So you got a mid price point, you have individualized prescription, and great results and a social stick. So it kind of pulls the best value creation elements together from the different models. And is good. The cons are that the responsibility lies on the business owner or operator to maximize the number of clients in each training time slot. So if you've got semi-private rates and your business is modeled around 3 or 4 clients per session, and you only have 1 client in that session, then generally you're giving a discounted private training session to someone as opposed to really getting the benefits. So you've got to kind of control that supply and demand, capacity, and sales and marketing you do to influence to be efficient. But in most cases, this comes after someone has got some experience in private training and is good at delivering good outcomes for clients and really understands their people are paying for outcomes, not time. And then semi-private can be kind of the next iteration. It's kind of like version 2. I see a lot of people start with private training, get good at delivering results to clients and refining their programming and delivering services, and then kind of increase the ability to continue growing with semi-private in a lot of cases. So, but you've got to make it work. You got to fill up your slots in sales and marketing to get the best return on this. Without that, you start to really reduce the leverage and the profitability for that block of time. So here's how that looks in a 3-to-1 environment for semi-private. You've got 30 clients, twice a week, 15 to 20 clients, 3 to 4 times a week. Generally speaking, clients are going to be training 3 to 4 times a week. So this kind of middle rows here that you can see, 3 clients per session. So for about 20 to 21 hours of training time, about $45 per session, you can produce around 11 to 12K of revenue a month for the business. And you can see the breakdown of that weekly. That's a pretty good clip of return on investment of your time as a business operator working with clients. And the monthly investment for clients, you can see the ranges here, weekly or monthly investment. It's pretty reasonable, pretty sustainable for most markets. This price point works pretty well. So again, with semi-private, this is where a lot of people begin serving clients when they're going in a semi-private model. It's a great place to begin. It's more efficient than private, meaning you're kind of less training time. You might be training 30 hours a week to get this kind of output in revenue for the business, where here you're training 20, so 2/3 of the time and you're getting the same output. But you've got to be confident in your ability to deliver great results and great experience in serving clients, because you got to be on the game. 3-4 clients per session, you have less time to dilly-dally and chit chat and get it wrong. You got to be on it. So very important. And again, most people start with 3-to-1 and then kind of progress into 4-to-1. This is kind of the tuned up version. in most cases. So if you've got tight coaching operations and you're able to manage that client's experience in a great way at scale, and that's really the key, is that people are paying for the outcome and the experience. And if you can manage both of those well, which generally takes just a little bit more seasoned coaches and model to deliver, when you can do that, this is a very efficient ROI and time invested for the return in the business. So that's semi-private 4-to-1. Private training, which is really the third primary model, it's been around since the 80s, if you will. It's grown tremendously. There's hundreds of organizations that certify personal trainers to deliver private training services today. Sessions are delivered on one-to-one basis, can last anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes, or in some cases even longer, depending on the goals of the clientele. And generally speaking, your protocol is you're going to set goals, you're going to assess a client, you're going to write a program, you're going to support them with executing the program and coach them through good movement and motivation to get the most out of their training sessions. And then you're reassessing the client on a regular basis and adjusting the programming as needed. So pretty simple model. The demographic, you can really serve any client base with this model. It's the most kind of versatile model there is. From newbies to professional athletes and experienced exercisers, anything in between. Private training in most cases works for the broadest number of markets you want to serve. The price point can be anywhere from $350 to $1,000 plus per month to the end user, to the client. And the great pros is there's really always a market for private training. And you can narrow your target market to work with the client base that you love most. So whatever types of problems you love working on, whatever types of outcomes you like helping clients to achieve. There's generally a small market, niche market for that is awesome and fun for you. And you can share the protocols that you're most passionate about. You can really focus on serving people with individualization of your programming and help them maximize everything you do to deliver tremendous results. The session length can be chosen to best serve the client. Startup costs are minimal for this. Again, you can train people in their home, you can train them in their garage, and you can train people in multiple environments. You can rent space in some areas. Really, depending on the price point, it doesn't take a high volume of clients to earn a professional income. I mean, a lot of cases, 10, 15 plus clients, you're at a professional income when you have people training, 2-3 times a week. So for that reason, this is a very sustainable, robust, time tested and proven model. And a great way to get started in the fitness industry is I believe, private training for all those reasons. However, the cons it is more labor intensive without a whole lot of leverage beyond raising price point, which at some point has a limit, depending on the graphic that you're serving. So depending on your area where you live and the demographic you want to serve, there's going to be there's great elasticity in the price you can charge per session. So, maybe you're starting at 60, 70 a session and you're scaling that to 100 per session, but there's going to be a limit, right? At some point, maybe it's 150, 200, 250, 300. At some point, there's going to be a limit on what you can charge per session and have people, that have the money to invest in training 2-3 times a week sustainably over time. So there is some limit, but you're being paid very well for your time, and you can get very good at your craft, and you can just focus on serving a small number of people very well, very successfully, and earn a great professional income. Though the other consideration though is as you have small fluctuations, somebody goes on vacation, somebody stops training. If you have 10 clients and 2 finish up their program or get sick or whatever, that's a 20% drop in your income in 1 month. So there can be some volatility in your income as well if you're not well organized and you don't have a waiting list of clients, you don't have kind of marketing rolling on a regular basis. There can be some dips in consistency, but and that can be when people are on holiday and all kinds of stuff. But it's a great way to get out of the gate, to get experience, and it doesn't take a lot of people to be successful. So you can see how that works out in unit economics here. You need 12 to 18 clients training 2 to 3 times a week, equates to 36 hours in this case of training at $70 a session gets us to those income goals of over $10,000 a month. Now, obviously, if we start charging more, if you raise your rate, and you can manipulate in the example we've given here in the Google sheet, you can upgrade the numbers. You can see how that plays with the rate changes, the amount of clients you need to achieve your income target. So this is a very simple, easy model to run when just getting started. And again, it has great price elasticity. Again, depending on the market segment you want to serve, you can charge, a lot for your time. And in most cases, for all those reasons of the 3 different models that are proven, we recommend this as a great one to start with for most people to get experience, to earn a professional income quickly, to start putting in their hours, getting good at delivering services and programming and getting results and build a portfolio. And then either you can continue to raise price, you can continue to scale with more people and coaches working with you in private training, or you can evolve to be the semi-private model. Or if you're going in a different direction, you have a passion around a lot of the group modalities, then you just start with a group to the start. But most cases, people start with either group or private. But those are the 3 models. Kind of pick one that works best for you and dive into it. A lot of people ask questions about what about the other models. So there's lots of other business models that you can run, but the majority of those work best after you've learned how to deliver a great client experience and you built a client base around one of the 3 primary models. So, people ask, what about adding this and 3 different revenue streams and supplements and having a pro shop with equipment and apparel and gloves and t-shirts and merchandise and all kinds of things that they want to add on into their business. And again, my answer is that's great, but build a primary business and client base around great client experiences and value creation in the market around one primary model. Once you get good at that, you can do more. Again, this can include, but not limited to, workshops, camps, retreats, certifications, fixed term challenges. So this can be like 12-week body transformation programs or 6-week challenges or 3-week challenges, whatever it may be. Nutrition supplements, information, you name it. There's lots of different things you can do to serve people and create value in the market. But most cases, do that after you build a primary business around one of the 3 proven models. It's going to be the easiest to run with. So regardless of the model you choose, these are really the keys to success that you want to think about with every model. And everything starts with the market. Again, doesn't matter what you'd like to do, what you find cool. It's what is the demand in the market? What are people struggling with for a problem? What do they have a desire to go achieve or do? Again, market is like that force that is out there that we don't control. We just have to read it and channel it. So it's like going to the beach and wanting to go surfing. You have to look, where are the waves and how big are they and where's it the best spot to catch a wave? That is the market. You don't control that. You want to read that. That is where everything begins and ends in terms of success. Once you understand the market and the opportunity in the market, you want to look at what is the right model. Think about the modalities that you like and you're passionate about serving. What modalities help people best achieve the solution of the problem or fulfillment of the desire that they want. And then how can you best choose one of 3 models and then price and package it for success, given where you want to position in the market and set things up for success. Again, that kind of leads into a further conversation on packaging pricing, which will come later. But you can start with playing around with the model, playing around with the pricing, and determining how many people is it going to take to reach an income goal for the business that is important to you to achieve. And then once we understand that, we got to look in differentiation, right? So I'm doing group training, I'm doing semi-private training, I'm doing private training, I'm doing yoga, Pilates, whatever it may be. How do I differentiate my group training and my yoga or Pilates or my personal training from other solutions in the market? Why should people choose me? What makes the way I can create value in the market? I can deliver a better experience. I can deliver better results. I serve a segment differently than other businesses that are currently in the market. How do I differentiate? What's the secret sauce? What's the methodology to best deliver that value creation and making it a no-brainer solution to where everybody in the market says, yeah, that's the one. That's where you go, right? So we've got to differentiate models for continued success and evolution. Again, this is where a lot of people get stuck, is they don't differentiate enough, or they have differentiated and then the market changes and they don't evolve the model and they don't differentiate the model. And now you're just the same as everybody else. And so there's no reason for anybody to come to you, and you lose your positioning and you lose your kind of lead in the market. So you got to stay very attuned to staying ahead of the forces. We can be surfing in the morning, one break, and then the waves die down and we don't move to a different break. Well, we can hang there, but there's no waves anymore. So there's no surf to catch, right? So you got to pay attention to the market and tend to the changing conditions in the environment and differentiate when appropriate. And lastly, we start to move into optimization. So how to create efficiencies in the way we serve the market and the daily operations to deliver that value creation, how to make it work better, faster, smoother, less friction, so that we can make the business as profitable and easy to run with all those other things in place. So again, very important. You start on the left and work your way to the right. And you can use this framework to evaluate where does your business stand today? What market are you focused on serving? Is that clear? What's your model? Is that very well defined? Is there time to revisit that? And if that's all good, are you differentiating enough? Is it clear to others looking in the market with potential solutions why they should choose you and how you're different and better? And then lastly, how do we optimize the business to be as efficient as possible? So good sense check for those of you that have been around a while to go through this framework and look for opportunities to improve. And for those who are just starting out, to understand where to begin and how to progress through this, and thinking about the strategy to best achieve your goals and best set up your business for success. Again, this is about sharpening the axe to make it easy to do the job of growing and serving the market, delivering value in a sustainable way that achieves a cash profit every week, every month. And so the more we get to understand these frameworks and apply them, we get to set your business up for success. So some great growth questions for you to consider here is, what problems do you most love solving? If you really love working on fat loss or strength and conditioning or pain management, whatever it may be, what is the problem you love working on? What types of clients do you most enjoy working with? Generally, it's not going to be grandmas, bodybuilders, pro athletes, kids all at the same time. There's going to be a segment you really enjoy, you're passionate about serving, and hopefully there's a good opportunity to serve that segment in your area. And then number 3, what modalities and model are you most excited about and why? So most people are more drawn to one model or another, one modality they enjoy, and what strikes your passion to where you could really enjoy this and make this your what you do day in, day out, and you're gonna have fun with it. Everybody that's been around in the business for a little bit of time, or as you start to get some experience working, even as a new fitness professional in the industry, I ask people, think about clients you've loved working with. And if you just woke up every day and all you had to do is work with those clients, this would be like a vacation. You can't believe you get paid to do this job and it's awesome and you just want to do more of it. Can you think of somebody like that? Most people say yes, they've had that experience. And then I ask people, think about clients who, if you have to spend one more minute of your life working with this type of client, you would just, go do something else, right? And go work at McDonald's and leave the fitness industry. And everybody can, generally laughs, but they can relate because they've all had a negative experience in working with a client. And so this is a great place to examine or re-examine, if it's time to revisit this for you, further refinement of that, and kind of make this as efficient and simple as possible, and clarity for your business, target market, modality model, pricing structure, differentiation, and more. So again, great growth questions for you. And then I'd like to encourage you to do a research spike. Again, too many startups try to reinvent the wheel in the beginning. People get really passionate about starting a business and they have all these ideas and they think they've got to reinvent like literally the wheel or fire, and you don't. And people end up wasting a lot of time and energy and often don't get off the ground. I see this happen most often with people that want to do like some type of online training or online remote programming or services. And they think that all the rules change and they got to re-engineer the thing and make up something that's never existed. And that's not the case. You want to keep it simple and you want to follow a proven model. So I encourage you to look around the market you want to serve, look around the outcomes that you want to help people achieve, and the methodology you want to use, and what other businesses do you see out there? What models are they running? What do you see working well to serve the customer base you want to serve? What segments are they serving? What parts of the market are they serving? Everybody, or more the customer bases around a certain type of demographic. Most businesses aren't there to serve everybody. They are more refined today. Every business is having to get more refined, more efficient about the customers they're building around to serve best. And look at what they're charging, and how can you look at those examples to best choose the model and best align your pricing to be successful. And think about how could you follow suit but differentiate. What could be different and in a sustainable way that you could differentiate your business better than other people can copy or repeat. And really important questions to ask yourself and to look around and to evaluate and identify opportunities for you to best position your business for success. So take some time, look around, document some of those pieces, and give some consideration. And remember to ignore the laws of mathematics at your own peril. And again, this is where a lot of people get stuck. They have great ideas, which is awesome. I love hearing passionate people with great ideas that they want to open a business or start a business. But do the math. You've got to understand and connect passion and energy and enthusiasm with mathematics, and you got to understand what you can charge and what the market segment you wish to serve is actively paying right now, and what they're comfortable paying, what they can afford to pay, and making sure you are clear in lining up the value proposition. And ultimately, it's a good return on investment for the business and for the customer that you want to serve, and for your business. And knowing how many clients it will be required to achieve your income goals. Generally, all things being equal, if our margins are structured appropriately, again, we get into that later in packaging pricing, but all things being equal, we want to get there with less people required to hit our goals. And the less people it takes to hit our goals, generally speaking, the faster we're going to get to our goals, right? So if I can achieve my income goal with 12 private training clients, I can go find and acquire 12 private training clients faster in most cases than I can go find 90 group training clients, right? So it's going to just take a lot more time to find them, to market to them, to bring them in, to sell them, to sign them up, to service them. It's going to be a lot of work with 90 people than it is 12 people. So understand how those things line up and what your goals are and what timeline and time horizon you have on achieving your goals. When your model is simple and easy and you're priced correctly, you're going to have a very efficient path to hit your goals. This is, again, people try to go chop down a tree and they've got a fork, and they're just sitting there whacking at a tree with a fork, and it's never gonna come down, and you get really tired. It's gonna be really hard, right? So take time to refine and think about the model. Refining your strategy, putting these pieces together is, again, the root cause of why most businesses don't take the time to do this. They don't get it right, and they don't evolve when they need to, and they really struggle, and there's a lot of pain. So get this wrong, and you may never be successful, and there will be a lot of pain. And even if you are successful, it's going to be a lot of wasted energy and effort to get there. So take the time to step back, do some critical thinking about your business, about how these you can apply these concepts and these strategies to make it simple for you to win the game. You hear me talk a lot about, if you're not winning the game, often you've got to not just play the game better, but you got to change the game so the game is set up better to win. We talk about changing the game to win. That first and foremost means your model is set up to win. And you've thought through these components, you simplified, you made the economics work, the math work of how you're going to get to where you want to go. So very important lessons for you to take and apply. So to summarize this module, so fitness business models are much simpler than we often make them. There's really just 3 proven models that have been around a long time. They've been very successful for decades now. They have a proven track record of success. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Pick one of the 3 models and run with it. And make it successful. And then once you've hit your goals, pause, reevaluate, and you can examine what it looks like to continue to scale that in labor or locations or whatever it may be, franchising, licensing, or if you want to add more layers to the model and do other things. But, don't sit around thinking about it. Make it simple and go do it. Certain modalities are also better suited for certain models, and people are used to paying certain price points for things. So high-priced one-on-one yoga is going to be a little bit harder to get off the ground than group lower-cost yoga, because people are used to paying a low cost for yoga, right? So unless you can really differentiate and serve a very special segment, that's going to be a little bit harder to push, right? So, but people were accustomed to paying more per hour for one-to-one personal training. So thinking about what modality is best aligned to the model and the market you want to serve and where you're positioning yourself. Again, all of this is based on the ideal client around the market that's in front of you, and then there's the opportunity to serve. It's like this is the waves at the beach, right? We can want to do a lot of things, but if the waves aren't cranking, there's no surf to go ride. So we got to understand what is the opportunity in the market, what's the market demand around us, who is willing to invest in solving what problems or achieving what goals or fulfilling what desires, and then building everything around that. That's where it starts and where you've got to stay focused first and foremost. And again, I can't say this enough, focus on building one model successfully rather than trying to build 3 models unsuccessfully. And this is probably the most common thing we talk about every single week with our clients and our students is most are overcomplicating it. They're trying to do too many things and they're not doing one thing successfully. And that opportunity cost of focus, not focusing and trying to do too many things and figure out the marketing messaging and the sales process and the lead gen strategy and the operations and all the things for multiple things at once, they generally never get there. When they simplify it down to just one thing they're going to focus around, whether it be group or private, in most cases it's one of the two as a starter, then things start moving a lot faster with that focus of your energy and effort. So very important to remember those lessons and apply them. Action items. You want to think about the market you most want to serve and the modality that makes the most sense to deliver tremendous value to the market while allowing you the shortest path to achieve your revenue goals. And that's really the key, is we want to make sure we're looking at the market, but also lining it up with your goals, your time horizon, what you want to achieve. We want to pick a business model and commit to it, one model, focus on that, and really get focused and eliminate activities that don't align with building a successful business around your one primary model. And that really, people ask me all the time how to get focused. Well, how you get focused is to stop doing all the stuff that isn't aligned to that goal. When you get focused on your goal, then you eliminate everything else that's not aligned with that. And really that starts, in most cases, the root cause this is clarity of the model. So starting with that and getting really focused is going to set you up for success. So those are the action items out of this model, and then this module. And then just to share the tool that we've talked about here with you, we're giving you access to this fitness business model tool, and you'll see the link in the resources here. This has got 3 primary tabs here: private training, semi-private, group training. You can see, and all you got to do is go through here. You can adjust the cells in yellow, and you can play with this. If you're charging $85 a session, you can start to see what that does to achieve the revenue goals you've got for monthly gross. And you can see, well, maybe I only need now 15 clients to get to my goal, and maybe I only need 10 clients to get to my goal of around 10K a month. In most cases, 10K a month is a great goal. We look at 30 hours of training, 10K a month. That's a great target for early stage fitness businesses getting off the ground. 10K usually gives you enough revenue to support yourself while reinvesting and continue growth of the business. So that's a general target we want to aim for in most stage 2 and 3 businesses, we call it. And this is what the investment looks like on the client side, weekly and monthly investment. So you can play with this if you just click to download a copy. You can just click File, copy, and then you can play with this stuff for yourself. You can see these tabs we've got here for semi-private training, for group training. You can play around the different examples here with the rates and with the clients and see how that affects your numbers, and just put your head around some different iterations of your model and how you're going to refine your model, get focused on your model, and can it get you there, right? We want to know if we're focused on this model, what's it going to take to get to our goals in the business in terms of revenue, all things being equal in our cost structure and such. So have some fun with this one and let us know how it goes for you. Again, getting this right, getting this clear is going to set you up for success with everything to come, taking this into pricing, packaging, sales systems, marketing, lead generation systems, and more. This is where it all begins in fitness business success. So enjoy it. Have fun. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.